Most people believe their lives feel disordered because of circumstances. They point to the noise around them, the pressure, the lack of time, the demands of other people. But the truth is quieter and far more uncomfortable. Life doesn't fall apart on the outside first. It unravels on the inside. Disorder begins the moment thinking becomes undisciplined. When the mind jumps from fear to hope, from distraction to doubt, from impulse to regret, it cannot build anything stable. A scattered mind produces scattered results, and no amount of effort can compensate for that. Look closely and you'll see it everywhere. People wake up tired not because they didn't sleep, but because their thoughts never rested. They move all day but feel like they're standing still because their actions aren't guided by a single direction. They react instead of decide. They chase urgency instead of importance. And slowly, without realizing it, their lives start to feel heavy, confusing, and out of control. This isn't a problem of talent or intelligence. It's a problem of mental order. Your mind is the command center of your life. Whatever dominates your thinking will eventually dominate your behavior. If fear is in charge, hesitation follows. If doubt leads, progress stalls. If impulse rules, consistency disappears. But when thinking becomes controlled, everything changes. Clarity enters. Decisions sharpen. Energy stops leaking in every direction and starts moving with purpose. Order doesn't come from doing more, it comes from thinking better. Uncontrolled thinking is like leaving the doors of your mind wide open. Every opinion walks in. Every distraction takes a seat. Every worry demands attention. And soon there's no room left for intention. That's why so many people feel overwhelmed before the day even begins. They haven't chosen their thoughts, they've allowed them. And whatever you allow repeatedly will eventually control you. The moment you begin to discipline your thinking, you begin to reclaim power. This doesn't mean forcing positivity or ignoring reality. It means deciding what deserves your mental energy and what does not. It means refusing to rehearse fear. It means interrupting doubt before it turns into belief. It means slowing down your thoughts long enough to give them direction. When your thinking becomes intentional, your emotions stabilize. When emotions stabilize, actions become consistent. And when actions are consistent, life starts to organize itself naturally. You don't need to fix everything at once. Order is built one thought at a time. One decision to pause instead of react. One moment of clarity where you choose focus over noise. Over time, these moments compound. What once felt chaotic begins to feel manageable. What once felt overwhelming becomes structured. Not because life became easier, but because your mind became stronger. Everything that follows in this journey depends on this foundation. Purpose, discipline, planning, self-mastery, none of it can stand on a disordered mind. Control your thinking, and you take the first step toward controlling your life. Because when the mind is organized, the rest has no choice but to follow. Once thinking begins to come under control, something else becomes obvious. Clarity alone is not enough. A mind can be calm and still feel lost. That's because order requires direction, and direction is born from purpose. Without a clear reason for moving forward, even disciplined thinking drifts. Energy scatters, effort weakens, and life slowly slides back into confusion. A definite purpose is what gives structure to thought and meaning to action. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they wake up every day without a clear answer to a simple question. What am I building my life around? When that question remains unanswered, decisions become exhausting. Every opportunity looks tempting. Every distraction feels urgent. The mind becomes busy, but progress stays minimal. Purpose acts like a filter. It tells you what deserves your time and what does not. It simplifies life by eliminating the unnecessary. When purpose is clear, decisions stop feeling heavy. You no longer negotiate with every impulse. You measure everything against your central aim. Does this move me closer, or does it pull me away? That single standard organizes your schedule, your habits, and even your relationships. Purpose is not something you visit once. It's something you return to daily. It steadies you when emotions rise and anchors you when circumstances shift. A definite purpose does more than guide action. It gives meaning to resistance. Without it, obstacles feel personal. With it, they feel instructional. Challenges stop being signs to quit. and start becoming proof that you are moving in the right direction. Purpose transforms pressure into fuel. It keeps effort alive when motivation fades, because you're no longer relying on mood. You're driven by direction. Many people confuse purpose with passion, but passion changes with emotion. Purpose stays when emotion disappears. Passion excites you. Purpose organizes you. Passion asks, how do I feel? Purpose asks, what must be done? When purpose is present, discipline becomes easier, persistence becomes natural, and focus becomes automatic. Life begins to feel aligned instead of scattered. You don't need the perfect purpose to begin. You need a clear one. Clarity creates momentum, and momentum refines purpose over time. Waiting for certainty is another form of disorder. Direction doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from committing and adjusting as you grow. The moment you choose a central aim and decide to serve it consistently, your life starts rearranging itself around that decision. Purpose is the anchor that holds everything steady when the world pulls in every direction. It keeps the mind from drifting, the emotions from overpowering, and the actions from contradicting each other. Without it, discipline collapses and planning loses meaning. With it, effort gains structure and life gains coherence. When you know why you're here, everything else finally knows where to go. Purpose gives direction, but direction alone doesn't create order. This is where most people stumble. They know what they want, they understand where they're going, yet their lives still feel inconsistent. That's because clarity without discipline is just intention. Discipline is what turns purpose into daily structure. It is the force that organizes behavior when motivation disappears and emotions fluctuate. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it means force, punishment, or living without freedom. In reality, discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It's the decision to honor your future over your present comfort. Without it, even the strongest purpose weakens under pressure. With it, small actions compound into stability, and chaos slowly loses its grip. Life becomes disorganized when actions are dictated by mood. One day you feel inspired, the next you hesitate. One moment you're committed,
the next you're distracted.
Discipline removes emotion from the equation. It creates routines that operate regardless of how you feel. And once behavior becomes consistent, progress becomes predictable. Order is built through repetition, not intensity. Every habit you repeat is a vote for the kind of life you're creating. Undisciplined habits quietly sabotage purpose, while disciplined habits reinforce it. The mind may decide the destination, but habits determine whether you arrive. That's why discipline must become automatic. When actions are habitual, they require less effort and produce more control. The more disciplined you become, the less chaos you experience.
Discipline also simplifies decision-making. When standards are set in advance, temptation loses power. You no longer debate whether to act, you simply follow the system you've designed.
This reduces mental fatigue and preserves energy for what truly matters. A disciplined life is not rigid, it is efficient. It creates space for creativity by removing unnecessary friction. Consistency is the silent architect of order. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't demand applause. But over time, it builds a life that feels stable, focused, and intentional. Most people overestimate what they can do in a moment and underestimate what discipline can do over time. Small, repeated actions quietly reshape identity. You don't just do disciplined actions, you become a disciplined person. Discipline also strengthens self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, confidence grows. Every time you break one, doubt takes root. A disorganized life is often the result of broken internal agreements. Discipline repairs that relationship. It aligns words with actions, intention with execution. And when those align, even with clear thinking, a strong purpose, and disciplined habits, life can still feel unstable if the in. Their world remains unmanaged. This is where everything either holds together or quietly falls apart. Self-mastery is the ability to remain in control of yourself regardless of what's happening around you. Without it, emotions take the wheel, impulses dictate behavior, and external events determine your inner state. And when that happens, order collapses from the inside out. Most disorder doesn't come from lack of effort. It comes from emotional reaction. A single moment of anger can undo months of progress. A wave of fear can stop action before it begins. Doubt can paralyze, Excitement can distract and comfort can seduce. When emotions are ungoverned, they create instability. You may know what to do, but you don't always do it. You may plan carefully, but you abandon the plan under pressure. Self-mastery closes that gap. Self-mastery does not mean suppressing emotion or becoming indifferent. It means understanding your inner triggers and refusing to be ruled by them. It's the ability to pause between impulse and action. In that pause, power lies. The person who can pause can choose. And the person who can choose remains organized even in chaos. When you master your inner reactions, the outer world loses its ability to control you. Criticism no longer shakes your confidence. Delays no longer break your rhythm. Temporary setbacks no longer feel like permanent failure. You stop leaking energy into worry and start conserving it for progress. Emotional stability becomes the foundation of consistent action. Many people try to organize their lives by changing their environment, their routines, or their circumstances. But without self-mastery, those changes never last. A disordered inner state will eventually sabotage any external structure. True order is internal first. When the mind is calm, the emotions regulated, and the impulses governed, behavior naturally aligns purpose. Self-mastery also sharpens focus. When emotions are uncontrolled, attention is constantly pulled in different directions. Anxiety fragments thinking, desire distracts, frustration clouds judgment. But when you are centered, attention becomes deliberate. You decide what deserves focus and what does not. That decision alone restores immense order to daily life. This level of control is built gradually. It's strengthened every time you choose patience over reaction, discipline over comfort, intention over impulse. Each moment of restraint is not weakness, it's strength under control. Over time, those moments accumulate into a stable inner identity. You become someone who can be trusted by yourself. And once you trust yourself, everything changes. Plans hold, discipline sticks, purpose remains intact under pressure. Life stops swinging wildly between extremes and starts moving forward with steadiness. You are no longer managed by circumstance. You are managing yourself within it, because the person who controls their inner world never loses control of their life. Once the inner world is stable, something powerful becomes possible, structure. This is where vision stops being a feeling and starts becoming a process. Many people carry big dreams, but their lives remain disorganized because those dreams are never translated into clear plans. Intention without structure leads to frustration. Organized planning is what gives ambition a backbone and turns desire into direction. Without a plan, effort becomes scattered. You work hard, but you're never sure if you're moving forward or simply staying busy. Days fill up, energy drains, yet progress feels slow. Planning doesn't limit freedom. It eliminates confusion. It removes guesswork and replaces it with clarity. When you know what to do next, momentum becomes natural. Organized planning begins with breaking large aims into manageable steps. The mind resists what feels overwhelming, but it responds well to what feels achievable. When actions are clearly defined, resistance fades. You stop procrastinating, not because you're forcing yourself, but because the path is visible. A clear plan quiets anxiety and directs focus. Planning also protects discipline. When decisions are made in advance, emotion has less influence. You're not constantly negotiating with yourself. You follow the structure you've already designed. This conserves mental energy and keeps behavior aligned with purpose. A well-organized plan becomes a guide you can rely on, especially when motivation drops. Flexibility is part of order, not the enemy of it. Organized planning does not mean rigid control. It means having direction while remaining adaptable. Life will change. Obstacles will appear. Conditions will shift. A strong plan absorbs pressure and adjusts without collapsing. The absence of planning, on the other hand, leaves you reacting instead of responding. Time becomes organized when planning is intentional. Instead of reacting to urgency, you begin acting on priority. You stop allowing distractions to dictate your day. Each task gains meaning because it fits into a larger structure. When time is used deliberately, life starts feeling spacious instead of rushed. Planning also creates confidence. When you see progress on paper and in action, belief strengthens. Doubt fades when steps are clear and results are measurable. Organized effort builds trust in the process and in yourself. You begin to feel in control, not because everything is perfect, but because everything has a place. Many people avoid planning because it exposes responsibility. A plan removes excuses. It reveals whether action is happening or not. But this is where growth lives. Order demands honesty. Once you see your life clearly, you can organize it deliberately. This is where purpose, discipline, and self-mastery converge. Planning channels them into action. It transforms potential into progress and effort into results. Life stops feeling accidental and starts feeling intentional. Because when your plans are organized, your future stops being a wish and starts becoming a design. All the thinking, purpose, discipline, self-mastery, and planning in the world will only take you so far if you refuse to own your life completely. Personal responsibility is the final, unshakable principle that transforms potential into results. It is the decision to stop blaming circumstances, other people, or luck, and instead acknowledge that the outcome of your life is determined by the choices you make and the actions you take. Until you accept this, chaos has a permanent seat at your table. The moment you take full responsibility, order becomes inevitable. Most people live with a subtle illusion that life happens to them. Traffic makes them late, colleagues frustrate them, the economy limits them, and society restricts them. But the truth is sharper and a little more uncomfortable. Life responds exactly to how you engage with it. Excuses are the currency of disorganized living. Responsibility is the antidote. When you accept that your thoughts, actions, and habits create your results, power returns to you. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You become the architect of your life. Responsibility demands honesty. It forces you to look at your decisions clearly, without rationalizing failure or inflating success. Every delay, every mistake, every habit that drags you backward, it belongs to you first. This is not punishment, it is liberation. When you stop blaming, your energy shifts from defending yourself to building yourself. You begin to organize your life because you are no longer waiting for permission or for conditions to be perfect. You act because it is yours to act, and it is yours to shape. Taking responsibility also strengthens every other principle. Your thinking becomes sharper because you recognize that mental clarity serves action. Your purpose gains weight because you know that only you can bring it to life. Discipline becomes natural because it is no longer a struggle imposed from the outside. It is a commitment to yourself. Self-mastery is reinforced because you own your emotions and refuse to let them sabotage your outcomes. Planning becomes precise because the onus of execution rests squarely on your shoulders. Responsibility ties all the previous steps into a coherent, unstoppable system. There is a unique freedom in this truth. Once you stop blaming and start owning, hesitation dissolves. Fear loses its grip because you understand that taking action is your responsibility, and inaction is just another form of choice. You stop waiting for opportunities to appear. You create them. You stop relying on luck. You rely on your consistent effort. Life stops happening to you, and you begin making life happen. This is why personal responsibility is the final order of power. It is the principle that cements all the others. It converts thought into action, intention into execution, and plans into reality. Without it, even the most organized mind, disciplined habits, and clear purpose can be derailed by excuses. With it, life responds to you rather than controlling you. Because when you take full responsibility, nothing external can disorganize you, and everything internal aligns to create the life you are meant to live.